but I think it's coming.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna have to edit this bit out, but I hope everybody's recording because I accidentally did not start the broadcast. I started it now, so like YouTube's gonna get everything from this point forward. But
Okay.
just
Yeah, we're recording.
okay,
Yeah, I'm definitely recording.
yeah, because I just
Oh.
looked at it and it was like off air. I was like, why is it saying off air? Like, oh shit. Okay, that's okay.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry, John. Where were you? You were saying, and then
Oh, I was just saying that I think it's inevitable. I don't think it's necessarily right around the corner,
okay.
but I'd say less than 2 years max. I expect there to be some type of some type of devastation. Like it might be environmental, a big oil spill. It might be some military incident where we're not prepared. But I mean, I just think kind of, and not even really for Trump's fault, but just because of the way of the world. You have people using cars in Europe to kill, tens and tens of people, injure potentially hundreds. You have the availability for mass shooters in America. I just think we're making a lot of fear-based decisions, and that those are going to come back to haunt us.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's a great thing to bring up. Matter of fact, terrorism. I think, wow, it's had a year. I mean, from the attacks in where was it, Nice,
Mhm.
Yep.
and from Mogadishu, Somalia, Libya, Israel. It's like France again, and then
All of Syria.
right. We've even had a few attacks here in America. And we can't, forget the Orlando shooting.
Mhm.
And it's just
Yep.
been, it seems
San
like,
Bernardino.
yeah. And the thing that strikes me about, with the exception of the Paris attacks, uh, the thing that strikes me is that it seems like a lot of these attacks are very elementary. They're not sophisticated attacks necessarily. Not all of them. Um, you got some guy who just takes a gun and starts shooting up a place, or somebody who drives like this last attack here in Germany a couple of days ago, just driving a truck into a populated place, and it just seems like these things aren't going away anytime soon. And then even if anything, it seems like they're escalating because Russia just lost one of their ambassadors to a terrorist attack.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's that and that. It was so crazy because that guy was like can't remember if he was a current police or former police officer, but he was like working security detail and basically just bam shoots the guy in the back of the head, and he could have done so much more. People are really kind of lucky that he wasn't a radicalized, like a dangerous ISIS person. I think he's more of a Syrian rebel person or sympathizer, I
Hmm.
guess. Um, I just and I think about like in lots of states like Texas, who just now has the law where kids, students, staff, employees can bring concealed weapons on campus now, and there are other states that have passed similar laws. There are other states that are like looking at these laws. I feel like we're just setting ourselves up for just an age of chaos where people start getting emboldened by the chaos around us, and just start acting crazy.
Well, I definitely hope that is not the case, but something to think about in the future. And other big stories this year, Standing Rock, which I'm sure we're going to talk about later. Um, Flint, Michigan was still in the news, even though surprisingly for a crisis as big as Flint is, it's amazing how it didn't really get a lot of
It
news
went
with
away
the
fast.
yeah, exactly. It seemed to go
Mm-hmm.
away fast, and then none of the politicians wanted to talk about it. So it's like it's a problem that's still there, but there's stuff going on, and recently I think there were 4 more people charged with malfeasance and other crimes because of what's going on in Flint. Um, Also, I think you can't, you know, 2016, we can't leave without talking about all the police shootings, the riots, and then, of course, the sniper attacks in Texas that killed 5 police officers. Uh, in a year the previous that had showed so many of riots about police shootings, I think this year, definitely took the cake. Not just riots and protests, but I think also what we started to see towards the end of the year is that maybe some of this stuff is changing because saw a lot of officers who were charged, and some of them were charged pretty quickly after the shootings. So perhaps things are starting to change. I don't know. That's hope for the future, right?
Well, the thing I thought was interesting was there was more. There wasn't necessarily a higher number of police shootings. I mean, it's still going to end up around over 1,000 again, but not like 1,200 or 1,300, anything like that. But there was an increase in police or violence against police, especially ambush shooting. And I think by the end of the year, I haven't really seen too many, media-driven stories of these. It kind of sickens me, like how as soon as the election sort of finalized, it stopped being a hot button issue. Like, when's the last time you've heard about Black Lives Matter? And they're still doing stuff. They're still doing protests, but no, the media doesn't care anymore. So you just don't hear.
I
about it
don't know if it's the media doesn't care or we just have bigger things to worry about.
Well, I mean, no. As soon as November,
Rick Perry is going to be the Department of Energy.
I agree with that, but like there have been police shootings since the election, but has anyone heard about any? Like it's November came and went, and then it was just like, all right, shut off the faucets, media, take a break. I mean, you've been taking a break, but really take a break.
Mm-hmm.
Social issues just aren't really important now. It's like, yeah.
Well, maybe. Oh, anyway, maybe it's just people. I don't know. I know that I mean, people. It was being. There were stories, and I'm sure part of it is. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, John, but also I think part of it is, like fatigue. Before it was like that was all you saw in the news was about, you know what I mean? And I swear they were digging for anything that might be a bad police shooting, and it would get, some kind of airtime, you know what I mean? And then it was everywhere, just like, and people at some point, and people are going to, they get tired of, you know what I mean, the same story over and over and over again. And if they stopped getting, I guess views or however it is they mention for it, then of course they're going to move on. Plus the election did become bigger news. You know what I mean? Like it was pretty huge. Not that people dying isn't, but you know what I mean? Like they've been talking about this for months already. Now it's time for the election to happen. You know what I mean? This is definitely going to be more of a thing. I'm sure they'll go back to it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if by middle of next year they, you know what I mean, the media starts putting them in the spotlight again. So
yeah.
But I mean, anyway, that's what I think.
Because I'm with you. I know personally, I got fatigued with it because, like, even on our podcast, we would talk about police shootings, and I would be like, "Oh God, another one." No, I don't want to have to talk about this again. At the same time, though, it's like you have to talk about it, but you just wish that we had other things to talk about. We wish they weren't happening. And like I said, I really think that things are starting to change on that. So I'm hoping.
talking about it unless you're going to start talking about how things are changing. You know what I mean? Like the different things that have changed. Talking about the same thing over and over and over and over and over again is beating a dead horse. It's not. I don't think we should just ignore it. You know what I mean? And forget about it. That's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, making it. I'm just going to say the top story for a full year or however many years. You know what I mean? Like it's going to become old. Like what are we going to hear and talk about that we haven't talked about over and over again for the last, you know what I mean, however many months or years. So, I mean, I think it's good to bring up stuff that is changing, or, you know what I mean, like maybe every now and then mention they're doing this, or, you know what I mean, like protest, like what's going on here or there. But past that, I think making it such a priority for news anymore is I would think it would hurt it more, because people are going to stop wanting to hear about it altogether, to the point to where, you know what I mean, you try to bring up how to help and they're going to be like, I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done. And because I know I started getting to that point, like I just there, and that's true for, to me, any subject. Beating a dead horse is just not like it
Right.
gets you
Talking
nowhere.
about it doesn't no good if you don't do anything about it.
Yeah, and if we're doing the same thing over and over again, so
I want to do this. Let's come up with our top 3 stories of 2016. Like when we look back at 2016, what are the 3 big stories that I think we're going to remember? And I think number 1 obviously has to go to the election of Donald Trump. I mean,
yeah,
that's easily the biggest story of the year.
I think the police shootings, riots, those.
Yeah, I could see that too.
The top, unless we're going for a specific story, and then.
Well, yeah. Do you think we could come up with a specific story, like?
It's really hard to, because a lot of our topics are a bunch of, like, again, the police shootings, riots. Maybe we could do Black Lives Matter, I guess, would be a general.
I think if we were talking about a specific story, I think would have to be the sniper attack in Texas.
Yeah.
I think that one I would put that up there. And I think actually I think that should be like number 3, the sniper attack, but I think number 2 should be Standing Rock. I think that is one of the biggest stories of the year, because it was such a non-story for so long, and then all of a sudden it blew up. Now we're at a place now where, like, the activist won, the little guy won for now. I mean, there's an asterisk to that, but for now, because Trump could, turn it all around, but it worked. And then there was, like, right after the Army Corps said that they weren't going to do the construction, there was a couple days later there was a leak right in around the area. So it's almost like
a
spill, leak, same thing, tomato. But it kind of proved exactly what they were talking about. But let's move on to international stories. It's been a big year, not just here at home in the U.S., but also internationally. The civil war in Syria. You have the again, terrorist attacks all over the world. The Zika virus that everybody was so concerned about, and some people were thinking about calling off the Olympics, which is another big story. And then Panama Papers, Panama Papers, WikiLeaks, death of Castro, where Russia hacks America. It's been a big year for international stuff as well as stuff here at home. Is there like any story that sticks out to you as like a big story of the year?
Syria.
Brexit.
Yeah, Brexit's a good one.
Yeah. Personally, for me, I'd have to go with, when I think about 2016 and international stuff, I have to think about just hacking in general. Panama Papers, WikiLeaks, Russia hacking the DNC and the GOP, and then what they did with that. I think it's amazing how much hacking changed 2016. You think about all the people who got jailed for Panama Papers or fined because they were trying to hide tax money offshore. You think about the stuff that WikiLeaks leaked, good and bad, and then of course, the how Russia interfered in the election. I think hacking is it's up there.
Hmm.
I think hacking is kind of the way, um, or not kidnapping, but more hostage taking was in the '70s, where it's like that became the new crime for that era for that time, and then everything after it sort of was always a reaction of it. Like how do we deal? How do we as a new society, how are we dealing with the fact that we have these terrorists who are at will are taking planes and asking for extreme amounts of money. And today now we're like, how are we dealing with the very real concept that our privacy, that our information, that our money, that our government, everything is just so insecure.
Hmm.
And anyone who tells you that they can protect you, just have doesn't have a real concept of what's going on.
Like this didn't happen this year, but remember LifeLock? I'm sure they're still around, but the
Yep.
CEO of LifeLock went and threw all his information out there and was like, "We're completely secure and we can make you secure." And then he immediately got hacked and had his identity stolen. And it just kind of feels like that can happen to anybody, especially when like there have been a bunch of hacks here, like social security numbers that have been hacked from big companies, um, and it's kind of scary that this is the new Cold War in some terms. But I did want to talk about John. What you mentioned, what Brexit, right?
Well, I was going to say the reason why I think Brexit is really going to be the story. Um, I have this inane fear that we're sort of I'm in sort of this is almost drawing people to destroy the networks of negotiation that have been built in the international community. Like, Trump really wants to, he sort of wants to pull out of NATO. He doesn't really want to, listen to the potential threats of whatchamacallit, of Russia and, Turkey. They're sort of caught between wanting to be European but also be um, Muslim and Arab and are well technically Persian, I guess. Um, but like, I feel like we have all these fragile connections that have been around for so long that have helped to maintain the international community, and I just feel like they're being threatened,
Hmm.
and it's a real scary thing to think about.
And Shannon, what was yours? I'm sorry, I should have.
Syria.
Yeah, Syria. So I think it's kind of obvious what our our top three are.
Hmm.
But if we were to rank them, how'd you put them? I kind of feel like Syrian should probably be number one. Like that's the international story of the year.
Yeah, well, either Syria or
Um,
Brexit, because I think Brexit was a pretty freaking huge, huge deal.
I think it's a huge deal, but I don't know that it tops
Well,
Syria because I mean what we're looking at Syria right now is it's gonna. I mean Brexit is definitely gonna last into next year. I mean Toblerone had to cut down on the amount of chocolate you got. That alone should make Brexit a horrible thing. But I mean, Syria, that could go back. Well, no, I mean
oh,
they sort of have a truce going on now, right? But I
no,
mean,
I think it stopped.
well,
I thought, or it
uh,
keeps going on and then
yeah,
off.
right.
exactly. Well,
But
the only reason why,
thing about Syria is though is that could be the start of something much bigger
Well,
because you
yeah,
have Turkey
but
on
so
one side, Russia on the other side, and then ISIS and Assad, and it could be again
but
a
so
proxy war.
could Brexit, Rich.
Yeah, but I
Syria
think
could very easily be a footnote. The way Yemen is, the way all these Middle Eastern flare-ups tend to look so big and in the moment. But Brexit, if they leave, if England's leaves, if they finally complete that and it's not as painful as people see, other nations might choose to do the same thing. A
Mars.
populist wave washes through Germany, God forbid, and next they're out of the EU. And if Germany leaves, that just
Yeah.
kills the EU, and that causes economic ripples that could just lead towards this destabilization that leads towards world war. Not saying that it's going to happen that way, but I'm just saying those Brexit could be that silly footnote that ends up being the canary in the should have been a canary in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys have convinced me. Let's put Brexit as our number one international story. Then what we're gonna go with Syria.
Then Syria, I think. Yeah.
And any contenders for number three?
Um, Internationally, this would be a nice one, a nice positive one.
What was that?
The Olympics.
I,
Yeah,
I like your positivity, but I think I know I forgot about the Olympics quite quickly, like
well,
while they were
until
Yeah.
happening.
that's
I think the
Uh,
hacking thing is good.
yeah. Oh, I forgot about the
The-
hacking.
That seems to be becoming more and more like a thing. So
yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's definitely something
Well,
to look at, not just to ignore.
And this is the crazy thing. Like, I feel like any one of these can end up being the big story because, for all we know, like the whole hacking, aspect, like that that could also be called the rise of Russia. 4 years from now, Russia could be like the big boy on the block, a resurgent, almost Soviet, not like Soviet in society wise, but like Soviet in power wise and reach wise. Like it could very easily get. It could be like that.
Hmm. Well, before we get into our best of 2016, our personal best of, worst of, and hopes for 2017, I do want to talk about some happy news because I think when you look at 2016, it's easy to see all the bad crap that happened, and I think we should also take a moment to talk about the good things and realize that 2016 maybe wasn't as bad as we all thought it was. And to start that off, pandas are no longer on the endangered species list. Yeah, pandas, bees, a lot of these animals that we thought were gonna go extinct are making a comeback, and
Yay.
that's a good thing.
Nice work, humans.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good job.
The Army now offers 12 weeks of paid maternity leave.
Nice.
I know that was a big thing for a lot of progressives who wanted like paid maternity leave for across the board for all people in America because America is one of the few quote unquote first world nations that doesn't have paid maternity leave.
Now, is that just for the mom, or is that for both parents, or
That's a good question.
or because I know a lot of maternity leaves, if they are there, only include the mother if she gave birth, and then or like if there's someone adopted, like the first, but not both partners. So like I don't know how it worked with like gay and lesbian couples, you know what I mean? But I know for straight couples, anyways, it was the mother and not, at least here in America, it was the mother and not the dad, which I know a lot of European countries, well, I don't know about a lot, but some of them are doing both because, I think there's actually a couple companies here that have started doing that. Anyways, I was just curious if it was both.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because I do know like my job actually gives paternity leave. It's not anywhere near as long as maternity leave. I think it's only maybe 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's paid. It's probably not.
Well,
But
I mean, paid is huge for anything, like
yeah,
because there are a lot of companies that will give you time off, like that'll give you time off, or so if you gave birth, give you time off without firing you, but they won't be paid.
yeah,
And so that causes a lot of mothers to have to go back to work sooner because, I mean, you can't just, afford to take all that time off.
And I think paternity leave is definitely something we should talk about in another episode because I've got strong
Hmm.
feelings about that.
Hmm.
But also this year, President Obama signed a sexual assault bill of rights, which is a great thing, I think, considering this year seems to be like a year to let rapists off, on real light sentences. We're talking about like some people who were out of jail before the Olympics ended and started. Um, with this sexual assault bill of rights, hopefully we can get to a place where this isn't the problem because the justice system is supposed to be there to protect everybody, and when you see a rapist who only gets 90 days, you kind of think that, well, maybe the system doesn't work. But
Well, how about we just start at protecting the victim? Like, I feel
yeah,
like that should be the place we should start at. Like, let's just protect the person who actually got victimized. Like, it blows my mind the way just blatantly messed up our court systems have been. Especially this year. It is absolutely sickening.
but yeah, so uh, like I said, sexual assault bill of rights is a great thing. One of the things that this provides is that sexual assault victims won't have to pay for their rape kits, which was news to
Ridiculous.
me.
Ridiculous.
I did not even know that was a
I
thing.
I didn't know that was a thing either. That's crazy.
And now police agencies and any agency are going to have to keep the evidence of that sexual rape, the rape kit. They're going to have to keep them until the statutes of limitations run out on, I guess, prosecuting that crime. So, and then sexual assault victims will be notified. I think it was 90 days before that statute of limitations expires, so that they'll know that they can, I guess, keep the rape kits, maybe.
They
Um,
can sue or sue for injunctions to extend the period with which they can
okay.
keep them or
So, like I said, like all that is good news. And then also this year, a possible cure for HIV, which that is really amazing. A lot of people talk about how we haven't cured anything in forever. So, what's the point of donating to things? And also, this was the year of the Ice Bucket Challenge, which raised money and awareness. And it's like you hear that HIV might be a thing of the past, and it's just that's a great story.
Hmm.
And last, I want to talk about the Paris Climate Change Agreement, which was ratified and went into effect this year. It basically is going to try and help reverse the problems of global warming, and it's going to I mean, not cure, curb carbon emissions, and it. I, there is a possibility Trump will pull us out of that, but for right now, it's a great moment. For once, it seems like we're actually going to take steps to combat global warming. So good for humanity. Let's give ourselves a clap on, a pat on the back.
yay humans again twice in one show.
Also, while looking up, great news for this year, I saw that this year there was this airplane that was based 100% fueled by renewable energy like solar power, stuff like that, and it completed a trek around the globe. The only
That's
thing about
awesome.
that is it took it 16 months to do it.
Wow.
But I mean, they had problems, mechanical problems, and then the pilots got sick for a few months. But they completed it this year, so that's a good thing.
Tell me they got lazy. That's what it sounds like.
um, but let's move into. We're gonna start off with the bad news and move into the good news, and with our hopes. So let's start off with the worst news of 2016. Um, John, why don't you give us your top three worst things that happened in 2016?
All right, top three worst things. Excuse me. Number three. Um, Number three, I said, was just the whole Syrian situation, from the fact that they're trapped basically between trapped in a proxy war between the United States and Russia, trapped between Turkey, Iraq, ISIS, Al Qaeda, the Kurds, the United States, Russia. Um, like for the people of Syria, and nobody wants them. No one really cares that they're being slaughtered. It's I think for me that's probably the worst thing if I really think about it, if I'm being honest. Number one on my list was Trump, but if you really think about it, situation is just pretty bad. Trump, as I said, was number one on my list. Number two was just the um, the loss of faith in the institutions of American society. Criminal justice, no one believes in the courts. No one believes in the police who are in charge of enforcing the law and protecting citizens. You have private prisons. You have, from school to prison pipelines. You have the bank systems that everyone thinks are just either all for the rich or just toys of the wealthy. No one believes in Congress. They don't do their job. I think all in all, from the DNC to the RNC to the think about like the local issues in North Carolina. I just think like the institutions of American politics have really taken a hit this year. So that would be my three: Syria, institutions, Trump.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on the institutions because we finally got Pat McCrory out here in North Carolina, and we were so happy. And then they immediately took that shit away and passed all these stupid laws we're gonna have to sue to get rid of, and it's like, come on. But Jen, why don't you give us your worst of?
Well, I do agree with Syria, but I'd say the mass shootings or whatnot, then / media coverage of everything this year. I think it's pretty shitty that we had to. It was pretty much become a normal way of life, I guess, in the United States with the mass shooting stuff or shootings. And how the media just, I don't know, they make it like, it's like they get so excited over, these things that happen, and they throw all this false information out there before, any information has come, any real information has come to light. So you got people assuming that it was, someone who was Muslim, or someone who was this, or someone who, like, they don't even know what's going on yet, and they're throwing out all this stuff. And so by the time the real facts come out, no one really cares anymore because they already formed their opinion, and they continue to post the picture and talk about the shooter, and like, that's, to me, one of the worst things ever. That's some of those shooters, that's what they're looking for. You know what I mean? No, they're looking to be noticed, and
they're looking to get famous, and
they're getting it.
Yeah.
And to me, that kills me. Then
hold on, before you go on. Speaking of shootings and whatnot, did any of you guys happen to see the ambassador to Turkey from Russia get killed? Because like, I was in the break room at work.
Is there a video?
What?
Is there a video?
Yeah. And I was taking my lunch break, and the news was on, and CBS was talking about it, and without any kind of warning, because they were talking about it, and you see the ambassador at the event that he was at, right? And he's talking and at this podium, and then all of a sudden you just see him riddled with bullets, and he falls down, and the guy's there, and I was like, everybody was just like, what the hell did that? They just showed that and didn't tell anybody, and it was like, it was mind blowing to me that is where we are right now when it comes to this stuff.
To me, that's, I guess, part of the media, like the fact that we are showing. I don't know. I don't think there's some things that need to be shown personally, on national TV. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That like I forget. There's one story at the moment. I can't think because there've been so many of them. There's one particular story they showed, like the detail, like the video of what happened. Like you saw, it was very graphic. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I was like, I don't need to see that. Like seriously, please don't. Like people were sharing it on Facebook, and I'm like,
Right.
please, I don't know. don't. I don't. Anyway, but then I'd have to say the election. This has just been such a shit show. Like the whole, from start to finish, it's just been ridiculous on all counts. And I personally, like, before this election, I had already started obviously losing my faith in, like I wasn't naive and thought that our system or how things were going were great, because I didn't. But this was just like the icing, it was, I'm so done. I'm so done with, like, I don't know if I could handle a whole other election cycle like this one. It was absolutely ridiculous and disgusting, and it made me embarrassed and just sick at the whole thing. And I'd say I'm happy that the actual election is over, but now I feel like things are still going to continue with making me sick. But whatever. And then for me, the hypocrisy of, we'll just say, the American people in general, the media, the politicians, the people as a whole, this year, with everything being so hot button, you know what I mean? Like the election, every major topic that was so hot, that people were just so, people would attack the other side. You know what I mean?
Doing the same thing they were
For
doing.
doing the same damn thing that they're doing, and this goes across the board. Like it baffles me, because if we would stop and just think, you know what I mean, instead of just reacting right away, like we would realize that we're doing this, and maybe some people don't care. I know a lot of people justified it. Well, it's okay because they did it already. Well, what are we, in elementary school? He did it first. Like, really?
I think a prime example of that is how everybody was dogging Trump because he said he and his supporters were like, calling into question the legitimacy of election beforehand. Saying I'll have to determine on election day if, I'm going to accept these results. And then election day comes and goes, and it doesn't turn out the way everyone thought it was. And all of a sudden,
their shit.
Everybody on the left, not everybody, but a lot of people on the left were like, this isn't legitimate. Hillary won the popular vote. The electors should give it to Hillary, and it's like, if a Trump supporter had suggested anything like that, you guys would,
they would
have a fit.
Well, so, and then the hate in relation to that particular, after Trump won, the hate that came for Hillary, not all, of course. Okay, I know that, but the more vocal ones, anyways, including those who I considered friends and other people, the hate that went towards anyone who didn't vote for Hillary, third-party voters and Trump voters, or anyone who just didn't vote for Hillary, the hate was so, like, the meltdowns that were happening, and I swear, I feel like Trump took over them. Like, that's what it felt like to me. Like, I thought Trump had, occupied their bodies or their brains, and this was him having a tweet, a rant on Twitter. Like, it just, but then, it's okay. When they get called out on that, it's okay because, well, so-and-so does it too. And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, we're supposed to be adults here. Can we just take a step back? I understand the frustration. I understand the anger. I get it. You're disappointed, but I'm not exactly thrilled either. But come on,
Right.
like,
Be reasonable about it.
yeah, pull your big kid pants on and let's, I don't know. It just, those were the most recent examples, but there's been examples throughout the year on, and this goes for both sides. Conservatives get mad at Democrats for doing something that they kind of do themselves, and then vice versa. And I'm just like, seriously. And then even outside of politics, people in general, I'm so done with all the major hypocrisy. I wish they would just step back and look at themselves and think, wow, you're right. Let's stop acting like children, and let's, get to work at correcting all the shit that's gone bad. But
yeah, I'm
anyway.
definitely with you on that one. Here are my worst things of 2016 before we move on to the great stuff, the good things. I'm going to start with, I didn't have it on my top 3, but I'm putting it up there. I'm bumping some stuff down. But the election, I think, that's 3 for me, because as bad as it was, it wasn't. There was no way that it was going to turn out good for me, because once Bernie was out of it, I was going to be unhappy with whoever won either way. So, that's why it's so low on my list. And I think the things that are going to happen, remain to be seen. So I think we should just. I don't want to say let's give them a chance or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we're in a holding pattern, kind of for Walking Dead peoples. I guess it's kind of like the what was it, the season finale where you didn't know who got killed. And I think that's where we are right now. You don't know who's gonna die, but something bad is gonna happen. So that's why the election is down on my list. But number 2 on my list, racism and / populism. They had a really big year, and to the point where I feel like we went back 20 years. In that, I take it back.
20 years.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, but you right after Trump won, you saw these people, it just felt like racists were coming out of the woodwork, they had permission to be themselves again, so they didn't have to hide it. Seeing those kids marching around their school yelling "build a wall" and Nazi salutes, and the terrorism that people of color and Muslims had to deal with the day after the election. It was just a culmination. Okay, thank you. of just the worst racism comeback 2016, and our dear president-elect didn't help that. In many ways he fostered that, and it's just, I know I've been saying this, and I'll keep saying it because I think it's important to say, people who supported Trump, they're not all racist. They're not. That's just not true. But the problem I've had is that they were willing to support somebody who didn't have a problem with racism. So, to that extent, they themselves aren't racist, but they don't have a problem with people who are. And, that's a step back. So that's my number 2.
Well, they might have a problem with people who are, but there are other problems in this world other than racism that they worry about as well. So,
that is a cop out.
No, it's not, John.
Yes, it is.
People will put up with. People will. Let me finish. People
change that in any single historical situation. You can say the same thing about people who are Nazi sympathizers. Yeah, they didn't care about. They weren't anti-Semitic,
John,
but
we voted.
they had other things to worry about. Listen.
Never mind.
Yes, but again,
you're right. It's all about fucking racism, because that's all it's about. People putting food on the table is only about racism. You're right.
But that's what I said. Typical conservative can't really hear.
No.
I'm sorry. Look who's fucking talking. You don't.
I literally just said it came with the package. It came with the package. It did.
But it's something
That's part of it.
Sometimes have to. sometimes if they
But
had
did it come with
voted
the
for
package?
Hillary, it would have gone like, yeah, racism might not have come
Did
with
it come with the
package with Hillary,
package?
but there were so many other things that would have. So let's see. There's one major issue you have with one candidate, which is a big deal, but then you've got like however many others with another one. Of course, you're going to vote for the one that has the lesser of, the ones you have lesser issues with. Like, I don't understand what's so hard to comprehend about that, and
That is a
why
cop-out.
that is beyond. Okay, according to you, it's a cop out, but according to many other people, it's not. That was reality.
Here's the thing. I think for people of color, especially people of color who have been victims of racism, Islamophobia, those things like that, when somebody presents themselves as one of those things, it is such a negative connotation that it automatically disqualifies you as, it, that puts you in a 10 in the evil scale. And for a lot of,
not all agreed that.
right.
I mean, there are people of color who voted for Trump.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I know not majority.
But
my point
have some
is
responsibility in that.
right. And my point is that I think the vast majority, I'd say like 99.9%, yeah, you'll always find there were Jews who were Nazis, so you'll always
Exactly.
find somebody.
That amazes me that anybody who doesn't agree with what the majority is like.
No, that's not
that
what I'm
makes
saying.
them. They get called
that
Uncle
is not-
Tom, and
again, no,
that's
you're
not
not
what I'm
hearing
saying.
what we're saying.
What I'm saying is, hold on, let me finish. People of color, for the majority, like I said, like 99.9%, they find those traits to be so.
What? Hello?
I think we just lost Reg.
I think so too.
Reg, where are you?
Come back. Wanted to hear what you were
This isn't
saying.
the start of a scary movie. I know.
And he's hosting the call, so I don't know how that works.
I know, it's a good question. What happens when he doesn't come back? This has never happened before. It's always my fault.
Well, now you know how we deal. Huh. No response in chat either.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not coming up in Facebook.
I wonder if his internet went out.
What's going on in Charlotte? Did Charlotte just get bombed?
That would be really shitty.
That would be so bad.
Oh man.
Like, Reg, what's going on?
Yeah, he's completely gone from the call. So, or unless he's marked. No, that's you, Jay, and then that's me. And then I don't see him. Yeah, he left chat. Okay.
I know. What are we?
I don't know what to do.
I wonder if I can get Twitter on his phone and be like, hey, you alive?
Yeah. Let's
You
try that.
alive? Question mark.
This stuff always happens in the middle of a really good, like.
Just
You know
like
what I
good
mean?
discussion.
Yeah.
Oh, he just said his internet just went out on Twitter. He sent me a Twitter message. About that.
Maybe the government is listening in and they don't want us to
They're
talk.
like, silence them!
Yeah.
Silence them! Immediately!
Oh, goodness. Hopefully it comes back up quick, because.
Oh, I'm back. Are we there?
Yay!
Yay!
Oh, and you guys it's still recording. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's great. Okay, I'm back.
All right, so you were in the middle of saying, like, you just started saying, okay, listen, or whatever.
Okay.
And then it went out. So
Let me get my recording going again. Good. Okay. Um,
racism.
let's all. We're gonna need some sort of signal or something.
Countdown.
Yeah. Let's all do a 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Three.
Three,
3, 2,
2, 1.
1. Okay. Let me finish. What I was saying was like 99. I would say 99% of people, of especially people of color, find that racism is it's such an evil such an evil thing that they've had to deal with in their history, in their lives and whatnot, that when they see it in other people, it's like number 10 up there. It
Mhm.
disqualifies you to represent them, disqualifies you as a good person, etc., etc. So when you see people who can just like for us, we can't look past that. So it doesn't matter what you're trying to sell, what good you're trying to do. It's hard. It's almost impossible to look past that. Now, I think with the problem, so what you had in a lot of Trump voters, who if we're honest, were mostly white. They don't see it that way, and I think that that's what a lot of people, I myself included, find alarming and disappointed. I suppose disappointed is the best word. That they saw that and it wasn't disqualifying to them.
Well, for me, it's not even that. I don't have a problem with you saying, "Listen, I didn't like Hillary, but I liked his message." You just can't look at him and say that he's not saying racist things like that. He said those things. He used dog whistle language to to really go after that portion of the vote. Like those things happened. You can't just act like they didn't, and because it's inconvenient. Like
But
if
they're
you voted for him, that comes along with the package. You can't, even if you're not a racist, even if you don't believe those things, he did, his platform did, that's what he stood for, and you voted for it. Just
okay,
admit
but
that. That's all I want.
it was included. It was a byproducts products the word, but they were voting for. Okay, first of all, this election. Look at the choices we had, right? Like, and we all had, correct? Like, there weren't after Bernie got knocked off. You know what I mean? In the running. Look at the choices that we had. Okay, now people might not have, like, there are plenty of people who voted for Trump, not for his racism, but I guess that was something that they're probably, I guess, willing to accept if it meant other things got fixed, because they saw Hillary, and I don't think Hillary was going to do anything. I don't think she was fanning the flames of racism, but I don't think that she was going to do anything to correct it either.
No, but she wasn't going to bring it back. That's the thing.
But the thing is, though, it's been here. Is like it's been here. Things have been building like for a while, and things have came to a head. And I'm not going to deny that. Yeah, Trump definitely fanned the flames, but this is not something that is just, it was just all of a sudden we didn't have it and then it came back because of Trump. People don't just all of a sudden turn racist because, you know what I mean, whatever. Now they might get more bold about certain things, but the point is they were looking at their families, the way this country is going, and the people that I've talked to, I think there might have been one or two. Now, mind you, I didn't talk to thousands and thousands, but you know what I mean? In my small area that I talked to, those who voted for Trump, they hated the crap that came out of his mouth about, you know what I mean, the racist crap that came out of his mouth. But they also were desperate they felt that voting for Hillary meant, signing their death warrant or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it pretty much, it was going to fuck them over. and down the line. And at the end of the day, though we want to vote for, to make our country better, there's more than just one topic, and it's for them, that's, making sure they had food on the table and jobs came back, and whatever they thought Trump was going to do for them, that's, that was ultimately more important than voting for someone else who, didn't say many inflammatory comments about, with race and religion, but they felt she wasn't going to do, that she was going to just tank things and make things even worse. So, it's not like that there was a really good choice. They're in a rock and a hard place. And a lot of people still believe that voting third party is throwing your vote away. I disagree with that, but that's, a lot of them still feel that way. And so they did what they felt was best. And racist comments and the fact that racists seem to identify with Trump a lot more comes along with it. And that's a really, really shitty thing. And that's really shitty that's how it goes. But at the end of the day, saying that they voted for racism is not true. They didn't vote for that. Racism is just something that came along with it. It's not.
That's what we're saying, though.
But
we're not saying they voted for racism. We're saying that was part of the package, and they were okay with it.
And
right. It's just like if you order a steak,
but they're not okay with racism. They just
hold on. But if you order a steak and it comes along with a side of shit, you still order the shit. But
it doesn't mean you're okay with it, though. It's just something it's something right. that you want this instead, and that happens to come along with it.
Right,
and I guess it doesn't mean you're okay with
everybody else. That a bunch of people in the country were like, well, if this comes with that side, I'm not going to order that, and I don't understand why other people could. But
okay, we should be trying to understand, though, get that when you say statements like people voted for him and said they were okay with racism, I think that's really wrong. That's not fair. They're not okay with racism, but I'm sorry. I get why for a person of color, of course it would be a massive thing, because that's something you dealt with, on more so than most white people would deal with. But, and it's not that it's not a very important topic, but at the same time, there were things that if he hadn't been so childish, I probably still would have voted third party, but if he hadn't been so childish, and how he behaved and whatnot, and he had been a different person, but he had, I don't know that I say that I would actually still vote for him. But the point is, I get why these people are doing it. I know that there are people that are not okay with racism. They will stand up against it, but if it means them acknowledge, voting for, when it comes to voting for Hillary to them was incredibly just way just awful. And I don't know. I get what you're saying. I just don't agree with saying that people who voted for Trump are okay with racism. Even though it was part of the package, I don't think that they necessarily condoned racism. They just were desperate and in a place that this was their only choice. What do you do? Not vote at all, and then that's just as bad as. So, that's how I get where I view it. It bothers me when people say, "Oh, it's okay," because you can't saying someone's okay with racism. It means they condone it, and that I know a lot of people who don't. They flat out just don't condone it, and they would march against it if they had the opportunity. If there was an opportunity for them to march against it, these are people that would definitely get right out there and whatever. If they saw something happening, they'd stand up, and so. But in their they were voting for with their shitty options. That's what they, you've got shit 1 and shit 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
get
have
where
to
you're
agree
coming
to
from.
disagree with that.
Yeah, but let's move on to what I think the worst part of 2016. Mine is Jen will probably agree with me, the media, and it's not just because the journalism in general just sucks lately, but it's because the media. I feel like they failed on the American people. They failed to do just their basic job of informing people of the facts, and informing people the truth, and they went for. They were basically the clickbait of 2016. They built up Trump because it was a great story. It was great for ratings. One. I should look this up, but one executive for one of the major news channels said Trump may not be good for the American people, but he's great for ratings, and that sums up what
That's media. Yeah.
the media has been
Yep.
this year. Chasing the next ratings dog and next ratings darling, and then ignoring in very important things like
Clint.
a Standing Rock, Flint. But I think Standing Rock is the best example of a story that's important, that had meaning, that was totally ignored by the media, and it only got big when it only got media attention. It didn't get media attention when Jill Stein was out there getting arrested. Didn't get media attention when people were getting soaked with water cannons or being put in cages and panels built for dogs. All that, none of that got media attention, but it got media attention when all of a sudden it went viral on Facebook, and people were all posting that they were at Standing Rock, and all of a sudden that the media cared about something going quote unquote viral, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. And even worse, I was against Trump, but at the same time, I was also against Hillary. So I should, full disclosure on that one. And if you listen to this podcast, you know where I've been on that. But the media just was totally against Trump. I felt was unfair, and I'm not saying that because I'm not a Trump supporter. The problem I have with that is the precedence that sets that the media as what they are, as ubiquitous as they are, as powerful as they are to get into the homes and the minds of people, that they can try and choose who the winner and loser is. I think that's a problem. Trump, Trump, good or bad, I don't think that's the way we should want our media to work. We should want them to tell the facts. We should want them to be honest and open about that stuff and not give these false equivalencies that we saw so much throughout this election. And I think if they don't change, then that's really a problem for society as a general, society as a whole. And that's why, like, they get my worst badge for the worst thing, 2016 for me.
Well said.
Mm-hmm. Bravo.
Um, but let's switch gears and talk about things that we did love, 2016. Who wants to start?
I'll let John go first.
Best things of 2016.
Mhm.
Let's see. Best things. Um, Actually, Reg, you can go first. I didn't really
Okay.
have too many things in this area.
Okay, then I'm gonna start with some honorable mentions. The whole please clap thing with
Oh
with
yeah.
Bush, that just was like that's something I kind of went back to throughout the year because I just thought that was such a great moment. It summed up Jeb Bush's whole election, his whole campaign, the idea that
Please clap.
he was doing all this weird stuff trying to get people to support him, and he couldn't, like and I love that his name alone wasn't enough to secure the election for him. Going into this year, I was concerned that it was going to be Clinton versus Bush. I don't like the dynastic appeal of our election. I don't like how inside inside baseball it is and inside the beltway. And seeing him fail just kind of that was a good thing. I thought it was good for the democracy and everything. And even though Clinton won, I think even though it left us with Trump, in a way, I'm kind of happy with that too, because it means that you can't buy an election. You can't just, who you are doesn't matter as much as what you stand for. And people got behind Trump because of what he stands for better or worse. So, yeah, that please clap moment is a great moment for me. Also, another honorable mention, Pokemon Go, which might be a bit surprised because that has nothing to do with politics or current events. But I remember when it first came out, and still today, people, they got people out, it got people about, and I think that's a great thing. And I know that I saw people walking around the neighborhood. I was walking around the neighborhood. You met so many people, and I think in a year that was so contentious, that was a bright, shiny moment. But my top three, two of my top three are memes: Harambe and Joe Biden.
Nice.
Actually, the Joe Biden, right?
But the way Harambe just took over the year was freaking hilarious. Like, he would just pop up in the weirdest places. Like,
People named their characters in WoW Harambe.
yeah, I mean, whenever there was an online poll to name something, Harambe got mentioned. Even things as crass as dicks out for Harambe.
Yeah.
Just
People even supposedly, I don't know how true it was, but wrote in for Harambe.
yeah, in the election, like, Harambe got a lot of votes. This stupid dead gorilla that got killed. It's just a nice way to turn around something, a bad incident, and to turn around and make it good. And then the Joe Biden memes,
They're awesome.
brilliant.
Yeah, they really are.
But my number one best moment, greatest story of 2016, it has to go to Standing Rock, because the way these people went out there and stood up for something that they truly believed in, even when nobody was looking, it's amazing. And at the end of the day, they won out. They went out there to protect their land and protect their families, and they won. And that is just a great thing, because it gives us all hope that, even if the odds seem stacked against you, to be able to go out there and still persevere, that's a great thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I tip my hat to the people at Standing Rock.
I agree. Well,
Yes.
go ahead. All right. um, Mine were, the number 3 was Standing Rock, which for the same reason that Reggie mentioned. I mean, it was pretty fantastic to see the people went out and stood up for what they believed in, and for the moment they've won. That just, I don't know, did my heart good. Then the different stories about, because I know with all the stuff going on with police shootings, a lot of different police decide to reach out to their communities. And the one that stands out the most is the one where they had the, we talked about it on the show about the barbecue for the community. And they got together, had a barbecue, and folks danced. And I don't know, that was really good to see, because, hopefully more of it will start happening, and it can help, fix a lot of wounded, wounds. I know it'll take more than that, but still, I think it's a good step. And then the story about the homeless college student who biked 6 hours to college. The community raised over $70,000 for him, so he'd have a place to live, and, what he needed in school and whatnot. So that was really, I mean, there are other stories that are kind of good feeling like that, but those are what stuck out the most for me. I like hearing about, knowing that there are people that aren't self-centered, assholes, like what we see with the election so much. To know that the American people are just still out there caring for each other, and it's not all just people hating each other, and you know what I mean, all the bad stuff that you see majority of the time on the news, that there are actually people out there that are legitimately, they care, and they they try. So I wish we'd get more news stories like that. Maybe things would start changing. but anyways, those were my moments, or the three.
Yeah, great moments. John, do you have your three?
I do. So Standing Rock is definitely on my list. Um, I also I liked your Pokemon Go. I didn't even think about that. For me, I did like the fact that the Olympics in Brazil went off with, for the most part, without a hitch. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't too much, you know, devastation. There was no real Zika threat that people really were worried about, and there are a lot of people who got robbed the purses and phones, but no like kidnappings or anything really crazy that people were really concerned about.
And some people even got fake robbed.
Exactly. um, yeah, so I thought that was pretty awesome. So I said Standing Rock. I said um, the Olympics, and I guess number three would just be. Um, I had one in my mind, but now it just doesn't seem good enough. Um, I guess I'll just go with two. It really wasn't that great of a year for me as far as like there were some good stories, but nothing that really stands out. It's kind of a dark year. Oh, I know what number one was. Bernie. I know he didn't win, but it was nice to see him fight to the end, and it was nice to see people being active. A new segment of the populace being active. So that was pretty cool. I can appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Let's move on to what we're looking forward to in 2017. Why don't I go ahead and kick that off? What I'm looking forward to is doing more travel. I like to travel, and I haven't been able to do a lot of that this year. But my goal for next year is to go at least 12 places, and I'd like to go like 4 places internationally. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And kind of along that notion, I'd like to take more pictures. I'd like to, people on social media and whatnot, people I follow and stuff like that, friends, you see them posting photos all the time, and I'm a bit of an introvert. I don't take a lot of photos, don't post a lot of things like that, and I kind of want to change that just because, I don't know, it's good to share. Um,
Just don't overshare.
right.
Some people post like, "Oh God, no."
Some people do. Yeah, I'm not gonna take a picture of my dinner and be like, look what I'm eating. I'm not gonna be one of those people.
Oh, I'm totally one of those
I
people.
don't think
So
exactly.
Jen, let's be honest though. You're one of those people because what you cook is freaking amazing. I'm sorry. You have an excuse to be one of those people, and you should not apologize for being one of those people.
okay.
Number two, weight loss. I've been losing a lot of weight, working towards losing a lot of weight, and I'm gonna continue to do that. And I like where I'm at right now. Every time I lose a pound, it's a great boost for your self-esteem as well as just good for health. And I don't know what my number one. I know I went first, but I guess my number one, for good or bad, I'm kind of looking forward to what's going to happen next year because there's a lot that could go wrong or it could go good. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? We won't find out till next year, but I am kind of looking forward to that to figure out what happens. Because at the end of the day, we kind of took a gamble, and maybe we need things to go bad before they get better, and maybe we'll see that next year. So those are the things I'm kind of looking forward to.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go next. What I'm looking forward to, I'm kind of hoping that I'm with you, Reg. For me, I want to travel more. I usually travel a lot as it is, but I didn't get to travel too much this past year. And I would like to travel to some places I've been. And I'd like to travel to a couple places I haven't been to. But I really just want to step outside of my box and really maybe do something once a month that I just wouldn't normally not do. You know, maybe go to a country music show or go line dancing or just do something that forces me to be someone different. Um,
Like go to the
I
Midwest, like Cincinnati,
um,
maybe.
not that different, Reg. Not that different. Um, I'm looking forward to, hopefully no war with Russia. I'm hoping that with Putin and Trump being such good friends, that maybe that won't actually happen. That we won't, fight another world war. And maybe we might even just leave the Middle East to sort of burn itself out a little bit too. If we go a little isolationist. But overall, I'm just really interested in what comes next. I want to know how the DNC is going to appeal to the progressive base that they lost in the election. I'm interested to see what the reaction of conservatives and Republicans will be to Trump not draining the swamp, and because as more and more of these, um, as more and more of these promises get passed over, I think it's going to become harder and harder for people to rationalize who Trump is, who Trump really is. And what I'm most interested in is not necessarily next year, but going into next year and the following year, how plan is going to affect conservatives and middle class and populists and progressives who, once they see how much it benefits the wealthy. I think that's going to be a watershed moment and will really let us know just how much power he really has. So those are three things I'm looking forward to. Also, I have some big concerts coming up next year. Hoping to see the Chili Peppers, Tom Petty, Roger Waters, all in Boston. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've actually already seen all three of them, and they're the top 3 shows I've ever seen in my life. So hopefully a repeat.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, mine, let's see. This is more hoping that our country will work on becoming more unified, because this division is just, it's getting a bit much. Personally, though, I'm looking forward to hopefully finally getting on the transplant list, and maybe a miracle will happen and I will get a kidney this year and get my transplant this year, and maybe they'll remove these 2 huge kidneys. It's kind of my big thing, really, for the whole year. I mean, there are other things I'd like to do, but I'd like to travel more and whatnot, but a lot of that hinges on, what goes on with my health. So hopefully I'll make it to the Oktoberfest thing in Cincinnati with the Vent Chat crew and them.
I hope so. It'd be cool. I want to be able to. Maybe I should just travel down to Florida. I don't know.
You should.
Right. I have my flying privileges. I ought to start using them.
But yeah, I mean, I love to travel. Huh?
I was gonna say, if you end up going to Cincinnati, then I think I would have to go.
Okay, good.
We could do a live show.
No pressure.
Yeah, I mean, my sister's there, so I could, go for a couple weeks, and then it'll be during that time and meet all you guys, and it'd be nice to have us all have met since we do a show together.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to travel more, but I think my traveling, like major travel, because I'd like to go out of the country too. Like I look at Pinterest not Pinterest, Instagram all the time at pictures from like, you know, all over the place, and I'm just like, oh, I want to go there. So we'll see. But for now, my main goal is my health, and I'm hoping nothing. I'm a little worried how things are going to turn out with insurance and stuff. Like I'm supposed to start in January, but I don't know how Trump is going to change stuff, and like you know what I mean. Like I don't know any of that, but for now, one step at a time. So,
Hmm.
so that's pretty much mine. I know it's not super exciting, but it's pretty huge for me. So,
No, I'm excited for you too, and I was so glad to hear that things are turning around. I,
yeah.
I hope
Exactly.
2016, I hope 2017 goes so well for you.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I guess that's been 2016. That's been our little wrap up for the year. It, and I think we oughta, we need to remember that it's not all been bad. Remember the good and be positive about the future. And hopefully that's what
Hmm.
we did here. Even if, you know, even if things look bleak, we will survive.
Yeah, we're not quite Syria yet, right? Not we're not
Right,
we're
right.
not as. I mean, I'm not saying things
Exactly.
can't be bad here, but we are not. It could be so much worse. At yeah, I hope everybody tries to see the positive because I don't see a lot of that on social media at the moment. So anyway,
So we want to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever you
happy
guys
Hanukkah.
celebrate. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, if for some reason you
Hmm.
celebrate that. No judgment.
That was funny.
No
Sorry,
judgment.
tone of
No
my voice said
judgment.
otherwise, but no judgment.
But yeah, and we want to thank you guys for listening. Spending some time with us throughout the year. We hope it's been enjoyable for you guys or whatnot. Um, you can follow me at Hidanis, and of course, the show is at IMHO Pod. And send us email if you want to, imhopod@gmail.com. I'd love to be able to read some of that stuff off. I'd love for you guys to send us something. That'd be something I'd be looking forward to next year. But
Yes, more
something else
Yes.
emails.
to yeah, something else to look forward to next year. I think we're gonna have more guests. I don't want to overpromise, but I know a lot of people have been talking about wanting to join, guest
Well,
host,
it's
and
fun. Yeah.
we're gonna try and do that. I'm gonna set something up, I think, so that I can try to get more people on. I know we got a couple in the wings, so look forward to that next year. And John, where can they follow you if they were so inclined?
Tempe WMF on Twitter. That's TMPIWMF. And TempesWorld.com is the podcast, the website. Uh, check me out. Hopefully, doing an episode tomorrow on Christmas and holiday spirit and all that jazz. If Reg is still available.
Okay. And Jen, where can they follow you?
Uh, at gravel_itsu on Twitter.
Okay, and I guess that's with that we're gonna wrap up, and we'll see you guys in the new year.
Oh, there's one more thing I'm looking forward to in 20.
Okay.
Hopefully, a year with a lot less death. Let's not have so many. No, I mean, obviously, people die every day, but we lost a lot of notable, great people, community leaders, musicians, artists, um, just a lot of powerful people. Let's maybe have a year where it's just not like a death train.
And I know that we're pulling a Lord of the Rings with all these million and one endings, but I just realized something I'm really looking forward to next year. Quitting my job. Oh my God. I've been holding down two jobs for a while, and I'm in my 90 days where I'll be letting one of them go, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. So, we'll see you guys in 2017.
Bye.
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 Okie dokie then. stop the recording.
Yep, stopping.
Audio.
And stop. I'm not going to get off of this call until I export the audio, until I upload it.
Good man. Good man.
Good man.
I don't want to get yelled at again.
Yeah, I thought you we'd lost you for good or something because I was like, holy crap, that's not like John.
All right. Oh, man. God, 2016. Thank God. Thank God you're almost
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a fresh start. Let's see. It's episode 34, right?
Yeah. I don't understand my
Wow.
computer. Sometimes it can be super fast, and then sometimes it's, I don't know. And I've been having serious problems with my monitor or computer rather. It keeps going black and white every now and again. Like
That's
it'll,
no
Huh.
good.
it'll flash black, and then let me stop the broadcast.
It's probably